In my last experiment, I tested spritzing the dough before the bake with water and not doing that. We have a clear winner, spritzing with water. Now the next question I have is, what's gonna change if I add an ice cube to my Dutch oven or not? So I will be comparing the winner from this experiment with an ice cube or just the same technique as I did for this one, which was spritzing with water. I'm very curious to see who is going to win. What do you think? Who is going to win? Please drop a comment in the comment section. Personally, I think after doing a little bit of research, I noticed that baking at a lower temperature might have benefits for the oven spring. Don't go too hot, but also don't go too cold. You need to find a sweet spot. Now with the ice cube, I have continuous steam, which allows my bread to rise upwards. And at the same time, this is also going to decrease the temperature inside of the Dutch oven a little bit. So I'm thinking that could be beneficial. I'm very excited to show you because I've never tried myself like this. I'm gonna start with a quick recap of the recipe, how I built this dough, and then afterwards I will show you the results. I also added chapters to this video so that you can skip ahead to the parts that interest you the most. Now have fun and please enjoy the show. I made a very large chunk of dough. In this case, it was for 4 loaves at the same time. I was making the dough overnight. The recipe itself has around 75% hydration, my standard recipe. For an overnight bread, it's very important that you add a lot of dough strength at the start, so you want to be doing a lot of kneading. I would then proceed and extract a small dough sample. This dough sample would tell me when the bulk fermentation is done. This depends on your flour. The more gluten, the longer you can ferment. For my flour, the sweet spot is between 75 to 100% size increase. Then, being the lazy me that I am, I slept in late. The dough at that point has been fermenting for around 10 hours overnight. I would do stretch and folds whenever I see the dough flattened out quite a lot. Once the dough sample reached the desired size increase, I would then proceed and divide and pre-shape plus shape the actual loaves. Then I failed really hard by letting a bottle of kombucha explode in my kitchen. That's not a crime scene, that's my kitchen. Anyways, that plus shopping led to my dough over fermenting in the fridge. I had to redo the experiment, but the actual breads then would turn out super amazing. I'm just going to be starting with the spritzing, my default method, which also won in the last experiment. Half time on my regular technique. Looking beautiful. I think I screwed up just a little bit on the scoring. I might have just scored for a little bit too deep. I'm just gonna let this finish baking now for around another 15 minutes. And loaf number 2 coming out beautifully. And this time we are gonna be adding the ice cube, and I'm very excited to see what happens. Just like that, and now it's time to place our ice cube. And you see how it starts to melt, and I'm thinking it's gonna lower the temperature and just create a lot of steam. "25 minutes, and let's see what's then hiding behind." 25 minutes passed. Let's check what happened with the ice cube. I'm super excited. Look at it. What happened here? This is looking crazy. Wow. I'm not sure what happened here. Just look at how this bread just tried to burst out here. Very, very interesting. I'm gonna finish baking this now. And voila. Look at this very, very interesting looking loaf. I've never had a loaf look like this before. And one thing, do you see that? That's where I placed the ice cube. And with all that water, it's somehow a little bit stuck to the Dutch oven. And it's not just a little bit stuck, it's quite a lot stuck. Whew. Okay, fixed it without too much damage. So maybe a parchment paper could have helped, or some more semolina flour. I'm gonna let both of them cool down now. And here are the results. The one which we spritzed, beautiful blisters here. Not that much oven here, well, a little bit. I guess maybe it was my scoring technique. And here on the right hand side, the one with ice cubes. And look at this, this is super interesting. It just tried to grow and grow through that incision that we did. It looks like a rocket afterburner, pretty much. Very, very interesting to see how this looks. Blister wise though, I don't have as many blisters here on the crust. Nice looking crumb here. Great, amazing crumb as well. So, both of them next to each other. What I always like to look at is the top part. If you have some very large pockets of air, that could always be a sign that you didn't have enough steam. But here, this both looks amazing. Now here's a little bit of more of an ear, but that could just simply have been my scoring technique. Overall, I'm very satisfied with both results. I couldn't necessarily say who is the winner, because both look amazing. I didn't get as many blisters on the one where I used the ice cube, so it would be interesting to spritz plus ice cube. But I'm somehow also suspecting it might be just that the temperature is a little bit lower when you're adding the ice cube, and this helps the bread to rise upwards. There was a very famous Frenchman named Louis Camille Maillard. Sorry for my poor French pronunciation. And what he discovered was the so-called Maillard reaction. This is what gives brown food its distinctive flavor. That's important for meat, for instance, for fries, but also for bread. The ideal temperature for this to happen is between 140 to 165 degrees Celsius or 280 to 330 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, this is what creates the crust. And I think by adding the ice cube, we are pretty much lowering the temperature quite a lot. This means we are below the Maillard reaction temperature. Okay, that's my hypothesis. I still need to test this. But this helps in delaying that browning and delaying that crust development. And this is what we want at the start to get maximum oven spring. I definitely need to add this one more time and add a thermometer to my Dutch oven to just see what happens the moment I add an ice cube. Because it was really interesting to see that we got that insane oven spring. And I also really need to test very soon to just heat the bottom part of the Dutch oven and not the top part. I think that should also help in giving you a super booster in terms of oven spring. This video isn't even finished and I'm already super excited about the next experiments. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you learned something new. If you have ideas for further experiments, something you want to geek out about on sourdough bread baking, please do drop a comment. That's truly appreciated. As always, happy baking and may the gluten be with you.